All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am really excited, and he's a really nice guy. I guess that's why he's already a major police chief in a major city as young as he is, and he's got a long bio here, but I thought that he's with us for the rest of the hour, being very gracious about that. Art Acevedo, he is the Austin police chief, who's now been in, close to a year or so.
A little over a year.
And we're honored to have you, sir.
Yeah, good to be here. Finally get to meet you.
Well, it's great to have you in studio with us today. Just out of the gates, instead of reading your lengthy bio, tell us a little bit about yourself, because this is an international audience, obviously, not just in Austin.
Okay, well, I'm 44 years old. I'm a proud father of 3 kids, a 19-year-old, 16-year-old, and a 4-month-old. I was born in Havana, Cuba. I migrated to the United States, one of the lucky ones that got out of Cuba in '68. Always wanted to be a cop, became a cop, loved being a cop, and I did it out of a desire to really serve. I love people. I think being a cop is really about dealing with people, and if you can deal with people, you have people skills, you can be very successful at policing.
Now, obviously, you've got courage coming into the Lions Den here.
Well, hey, I frisked you down. I don't see any weapons on you, so words can't kill you, I hope.
No, listen. We have always wanted a relationship with the police.
Yeah.
And I don't like the fact, and I've probably even been bad in the past, bashing police too much, and that kind of combats police into their own little culture,
right,
instead of having the public and the police interface. And I know that since you've gotten in, you've done a lot of things I've actually really agreed with, some things I've disagreed with, and really have been interfacing with the media, the public. I mean, you've got to be the hardest working police chief I've ever seen living in Austin for the last 18 years.
Well, great. Well, thank you for that. But it's important. Look, we have nothing to hide. I really believe that through transparency comes trust, and the more transparent we are, the more we engage the community. Sometimes we're going to have to agree to disagree, but and that's okay. But we have to have a dialogue, because that's what's going to breed trust, and with trust, I think, comes safety and a better quality of life for all of us.
Now, Chief, I got a lot of questions here for you.
Okay, I hope I have the answers.
Out of the gates, though, tell us about your philosophy before we go to this break in just a moment. Your philosophy versus some of your predecessors.
Well, my philosophy, I think, is transparency and accountability are the 2 most important things to me. If we're transparent, I really believe we have a pretty darn good department, so why not be transparent, and why not put the good, the bad, and the ugly out there? Because by doing that, people start realizing that we have nothing to hide and they can actually trust us. And I think in the past, we really haven't engaged as an organization, the community, the media, your critics. Some people run away from activists. I actually run towards them, because I want to know what they have to say, and I want them to know what I feel, what I believe, so at least we can have that mutual respect.
Well, there have been big changes. Also, in the past, if Austin police shot somebody in the back, they would not get in trouble. Now that they have been getting in trouble.
Well, that you're talking about the Kevin Brown shooting. That was a tragic event for everybody involved, including the sergeant was fired. But the reality is, we've got to call them as we see them. I know the community likes some of the calls, they'll dislike some of the calls, but I think if people know your heart and they know that you actually care and that you're trying to do the right thing, they may not agree with you, but at least they'll respect the fact that you're trying and that your heart's in the right place, which is important.
Well, absolutely, and you've done some other things that have been good, and I've been happy to see police and the union not attacking you as much, because they understand that if they don't clean house, it's just going to be downhill.
And that's true. The reality is we don't have that much cleaning to do. The majority of our cops are really hard-working, dedicated professionals, but it doesn't take more than 1 or 2 or 3 or a handful to really diminish the excellence and destroy the excellence in the bridges that we're building.
I'll tell you what, we're going to break. That's a great place to leave it off. Stay there, sir. Back in just a few minutes with the Austin Police Chief in studio with us.
All right.
Austin Police Chief Art Acevedo is our guest in studio, and now we can start the interrogation.
Here we go.
You like the interrogation room? We have lots of lights, a little bitty room.
I like the padding, so when you get rough with me, I know I'm not going to hurt myself too badly.
I'm surprised that you didn't bring a whole entourage with you, because other Austin police chiefs I've noticed would normally have an entourage, and then guys out in the parking lot. I've worked at a few of the radio stations doing my show out of there, and like the police chiefs would be coming on other shows sometimes, and you'd see guys in the parking lot looking around, and
No, I'm a one-man traveling show. I brought Anna Sabam. She's our public information manager. And I think that it's important for her to meet the folks out here in the media so you can have a relationship with our office.
Okay, let's get into the tough questions in this short segment. We got a long one coming up after the next break.
Okay.
Plate scanning. They've announced all over the country, the feds have put in these license plate reading cameras. Police cars are getting them. It's all part of this larger Northcom grid. You have the emergency management centers where they're bringing in the National Guard, threat assessment, threat matrix systems, this whole Northcom grid. The last police chief actually interviewed in person was the police chief of San Antonio, L.A. Philippus, when Delta Force tried to bribe him and ended up in the paper to run covert operations in the city. Your take on all that?
Well, I think any technology, it's not the technology that is bad or evil or anything else. It's how you use it. License plate readers are a good tool when you're looking for, on an Amber Alert, a partial plate on a kid that's been kidnapped. You can actually program that system. Let's say it's 123 SAM. And all you have is 123, and it'll spit out any car. It'll identify here's a car that you're looking for. So it helps us in terms of finding wanted vehicles and recovering stolen cars. With that said, if we bring it here, it's solely for our local law enforcement use and nothing else.
But those grids, those grants are paid for by the feds, and if you'd like to give me documents, I can. They're also feeding into that with NSA technology.
Well, I'm not aware of that. That's something I've never
Okay, well,
heard
what
of.
about the gunshot detectors they started putting up in 1998, which are really microphones?
Gunshot detectors, we don't have them here. We're very fortunate that we have a city that's a very safe city.
What about the grants that announced in 98 that were putting them in East Austin?
We don't have them here. I mean, if we have them, I haven't seen them or heard about them, so it's news to me.
Well, those are federally put in, so I guess it's for the Fed boys.
Yeah, the Austin Police Department does not have that technology here.
What about munization? I'm always hearing about our police being sent to Israel or Israel coming over here, our police being sent to Japan, to Tokyo, and that, quote, then their officers can come over here and pick people up. We can go over there. What's going on with that?
Well, what these are, some of those programs, actually exchange programs, where you actually go and look at some of their tactics in terms of security. I actually went on one myself where what basically was a tour of their facilities, and just to learn from their experiences in terms of terrorism and things of that nature. But we have not had any delegation here that I'm aware of.
Okay. I've got a film I made 6 years ago, so you may not be aware of the specifics of what I'm talking about, but I'm sure you are. The programs where the Austin police enroll the children with a $200 discount credit card, and they get the $200 for turning people in, reporting on drugs, crime, but they also tell them to go home and what's in the medicine cabinet. That sounds like East Germany. Are you aware of that Austin program?
I don't think we have that program anymore. If you do, you need to let me know where it's happening, because I can tell you that we're not in that business.
But you were aware of that program. I mean, this was years ago here, but I'm told it's still going on.
No. If it's going on, somebody needs to tell me where and when so I can look into that. I would not be in favor of a program of that sort.
Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to go over this interview, and in a few months, I know you're a busy man, I'd like to have you back in, and I will have all the documents on each issue, and I will play the video of the Austin TV ad that they show inside the schools, where it told the kids, you're going to get $200 for whoever you turn in. You're going to report on people. And then they have the children write essays about what's going on in their home life.
Like I said, what happened back then I can't attest to. What I can tell you that we don't have a program like that today, and I would not be in favor of a program like that.
Well, good. I like you even more.
Yeah, well,
what about federalization? We have all this federal funds, unfunded mandates coming in, some funded. With the case of the blood taking. Now, I know here you're...
You're talking about my phlebotomy program that I talked about recently?
Well, they're taking blood at checkpoints. They're dragging people off to have their blood taken.
No, what's happened, I'm glad you brought that up. That's one of the reasons I'm here, because I think it's really important. Look, we are in one of the worst states in the union for drunk driving. Drunk driving is something that I brought some of the stats where, 40,000 plus Americans every year are getting killed in this country. Nearly 2,000 Texans are getting killed from drunk driving. You can have them.
I'm just going to show people on the camera.
And the reality is, it is carnage. What's happened, Alex, that a lot of folks, if they refuse a blood test, okay, that we need to get that evidence. A lot of hospitals don't want to take the blood for the department without a consent from the suspect because they don't want the liability. The Travis County Sheriff's Department is now talking to us that their nurses aren't going to draw blood for us anymore. They don't want their nurses to have to go to court, be tied up. So what's happened is we've got to look at how can we get evidence that we need of a crime that's been committed.
Okay, leave it there. We'll come right back to you and let you continue.
Okay.
We have the Austin Police Chief on. It's amazing. We're really happy to have him here. He's Art Acevedo. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us.